Good evening, Demon Phil Comics in More, New Jersey, and welcome to another episode of Unscripted. This one's a little more exciting for me because we hit our 1,000 mark on the followers, having a blast with that one. So there is a hell of a party coming up. If you haven't seen on Facebook yet, it'll be on the 6th on a Saturday at 7 p.m. I will have a panel of guests there. I'm not saying who they're going to be yet. We're going to have giveaways. We're going to have a grand prize. We're going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to try not to get, hushed by Facebook too much on that one, but we're still going to have some fun. So we'll see what happens with that. But if you will, go ahead and share this out. My guests backstage will go ahead and start sharing out as well if they want to let everybody know. And we'll try to get some other people in here and have some fun with this. If you've never been to Unscripted before, well, sorry, and the therapy bills are not free. But we like to have a lot of fun. We like to unwind and just kind of be ourselves in here. There's really no script. I mean, that's unscripted. We have fun. There's just four major rules: no politics, no religion, no drama, no negativity. As long as those are followed, we're okay in here. If that starts becoming an issue, technical difficulties will follow that very quickly because I have the power of a button right over here. All right, so as you come in here, if you can see me, if you'll go ahead and let me know in the comments you can see and hear me, I'd certainly appreciate that. We'll give it about one more minute, make sure we get some more people in here and try to get this shared out some more, and then we will get going with this. I have got a rowdy crowd in the back right now. We've already been having a little bit of fun. I don't think that's planning on stopping anytime soon. So let me go ahead and pull down the banner, and we will make this official. All right, Demon Phil, Comics in More, New Jersey, you're here for another episode of Unscripted. As I do every time, I need to go ahead and thank my sponsors for this show. Sponsors are Totally Rad Comics, Third Empire Banner, Codex Entertainment, 183 Degree Studio, and Naughty Fairy Stripper Assassins. And to finish it up is Pantsless Pizza, which is my girl right up here. Oh, there she is, right there. I hate this backwards thing. So, yeah. Now, that is actually done by one of our artists that is here tonight. Let me go ahead and introduce her up here first. Here is Eve.
Howdy.
I love catching you with those things.
The Dead Kennedys are a great band. And the more you listen, you're like, oh, the soup is good.
Now, for those of you that don't know, Eve is actually the artist that actually made the drawing that is going to be coming up for the background here whenever you saw it come up, the Unscripted, which is very cool. And then we've also got a secret project that we're working on that you will be seeing in about a little over a month now. We are in the finishing stages of getting that fixed up.
I'm so excited. Oh, I can't wait.
All right, and next up we have got Meredith.
Howdy.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Good to have you back.
Should I introduce myself?
We will do that here in just a moment. I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of us up in here, and then that way everybody's all together. Otherwise, we got to start over and over and over again.
I know. We hate when that happens. It's like Groundhog Day.
Exactly. It's like Groundhog Day. Oh, I'm sorry. You already said that.
Was that like Groundhog Day?
All right. Next up, we have David Fott.
Well, hello.
What's going on, David? Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right. And then we also have Justin Hunt is here too.
Hey, everybody. I feel like I'm the last part of the Brady Bunch opening sequence.
Oh, wait a minute.
Saving the best for last, right?
I'm in such a great place to do
No, Eve, put your arms down. We don't want to see those splits.
And let's go ahead and get started with, we'll start with Eve. If you'll go ahead and tell us who you are, what you do, and how to find you.
I'm so bad at intros. My full name, just for formality's sake, is Ivannette Rivas, but I like to go by Eve. It's easier for everybody to remember. I am a freelance artist. I'm slowly but surely making my way into the indie scene, and I'm excited with each project that I'm doing. Just released the cover art for Lily the Demoness for Louis Torres's story Lily the Demoness for Codex Entertainment. So yeah, just a bunch of stuff. You can find me on Facebook. If you type in my full first name, I'm pretty sure you will not find people with that first name. And then you could also find me on Instagram if you search up that same first name. I promise you not a lot of people do have that name.
All right, next up we have Meredith.
Hey, everybody. I am Meredith Loughran. Nobody knows how to spell my name. This is why I wrote it here. But you can find me at meredithloughran.com to make things easier. But I am the Comic Noob, which is a show that is a weekly show for the Comic Book Advocates Network. And it is going to share my journey into knowing absolutely nothing about comic books and trying to create one within a year, which is like lunacy as far as I'm concerned, because there's so much to learn. But I am also a writer. I'm a podcaster, a humorist. I am also the one of the editors for Geek Insider, as well as the editor-in-chief for Wild One Forever, which is a kind of a newish old website, and we're getting that cleaned up and revamped for an official launch. So lots of podcasts that I'm helping to produce and having a lot of fun. But the Comic Noob is kind of like my passion project right now, along with everything else going on in my life. Who's next?
Very cool. Here comes David. Let's go ahead and get you out here.
Oh, who, me? Oh, okay. Hey, guys. My name's David. Basically, I just draw art and I draw boobs. That's the gist of it. Just done a couple of cover art. I'm mostly known as a cover artist. I've done a couple of covers for Big Dog Ink last month. That's about it. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram under David Fott, or if you look under Sketch Artist 76 too, that's another way to find me. But yeah, I'm your local penciler.
Boob artist.
Boob artist. All the boobs.
All about the boobs.
All right, and next up we have Justin Hunt.
Hey, so my name is Justin Hunt. It's really easy. Shoot, I get this all backwards here. I am a illustrator and comic book cover artist. I've done a couple sequentials on the interiors. At the end of this year, I'll have a total of 25 covers, I think. And then I've done stuff for the NFL, a bunch of players, stuff for the military. I've done illustrations. I've done some work for Marvel and some other companies. Basically, I'm just everybody else at middle age crisis went out and bought a car, and I picked up a pencil again and got back into it a couple years ago, and I've been enjoying the ride and meeting some new people. And here I am. I wish I was in my art studio, by the way, but I just moved to a brand new art studio, so everything's in boxes right now. So about a week out, and then I'll do a live tour. Phil, if you want to jump on, we'll do that. And you guys can find me on Art of Justin Hunt on Instagram.
Yeah, I'll take you up on that. We'll definitely get a live draw thing going with y'all as well. I think that'd be something cool to do. Depending upon what you're drinking, of course, it could be even more interesting. You never know.
Water, apple juice.
There's that rum.
Clear liquid is clear liquid. Don't even worry about it. Well, we got a good panel up here tonight, and what I kind of wanted to go through is we've got some people that, like Justin kind of finished up with there, that things are being we have a sixth panelist here.
Oh, you just wanted love.
So this is Izzy, and she's a cuddler.
Izzy.
So it's okay. It's okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah, she's fine. The other dog's sleeping. So.
Oh.
But Justin had brought up about with getting back into some of the things and picking up the pencil and kind of starting into something new. What I want to go into tonight actually is kind of an idea that Meredith is actually working on with her comic noob series that she's got. And I will definitely be letting her talk about that here very shortly. But what I would like to bring up is we're going to kind of go around the panel here. And of course, we're going to start with Eve. So I'll let you know ahead of time, Eve, before you start getting too busy and throw a pencil or whatever it is around.
Okay.
You're notorious for throwing things around whenever I ask you questions.
Really?
Yeah, because I've had you backstage
No,
and I threw you out there and
I-
you tossed it across the room or something. It was great.
See, she looks so sweet.
No,
And she will kill you with art.
Oh, she wasn't upset. She was just surprised. That was the thing. I love catching her off guard because it's so easy. Just like whenever I brought her up here and she was like drumming and having a good old time, she had no idea that I was like, okay, and here's Eve. And she's up there just having a good time.
good food.
When Eve does her live draws, you get a karaoke with it.
Oh my god, you get a concert. You get pretty much any rapper without the auto tune. That's my live stream.
Mhm.
It's really bad. I
Until
love to
they shut you
sing.
down, yes.
Doesn't mean I can. Oh my god, they shut me down all the time. I hate
Mhm.
that. So now I had to start playing dubstep. So they wouldn't take down my video. And Russell's been enjoying it.
Wiki, 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 wiki.
Oh, he loves it. Speaking of which, thanks, Russ, for the great gun.
So what I would like to kind of go into is picking up something and starting into it and what you're trying to get into and what your goal is to try to come out of this. Because I think we all kind of have stories on what we're kind of working on and trying to get into. We don't have to get into super secret things that you cannot talk about. There are some things that we can, some things that we can't. Everybody has those kind of things. That's no issue. I'm not going to, push to the point where you start throwing chairs around here. This is not Geraldo. We don't have to worry about that here.
I got the wrestler kind of chairs here.
All right.
My
So I
warrior
was
chair.
drawing with my second cousin's first roommate, and then she came over here, and I was drawing with him too. It was weird.
The results of the test show you are not the artist. So starting with Eve, what are you currently working on? Like, what have you gotten into that's kind of taking you into that point of, you're getting into something big now, you're actually kind of starting to take off. What are you trying to get into that's actually kind of getting your foothold into the industry with this?
So I think the first thing that kind of made me realize, like, hey, wow, I can actually do something with this was really the reveal of the Lily the Demoness cover, and then seeing the colors flesh out the line work on it. It was awesome. So I'm like, I can do something with this. My goal was really to be sort of like an all-around artist within this industry. But one of the first things I wanted to do was get a degree in animation so that I can learn how to make my characters and any character look dynamic, but also not to make it seem stuffy like Marvel comics are written, but more like Steve Dillon style. Like, again, I love anything Steve Dillon. And his emphasis on facial expressions and the way that the panels sort of move without even showing so much. It's great stuff. So I would love to eventually do interiors. I've been learning color theory as I've been going along. So I do color work, and then I also do, my freelance cover work.
Very cool. Meredith, what about you? Because I know you've got a lot of stuff that you're working on right now.
I've got excuse the language. Well, don't excuse the language. I've got a shit ton of stuff that I'm doing right now. I mean, seriously, I just, I never thought that I was going to be this busy and not get paid for it, seriously. But I'm sure you guys know my pain.
Yeah.
I mean, between my own writing, trying to get stuff taken care of, written for anthologies, to be, to participate with other groups. Podcasting is fairly new. I mean, I've had stuttering stops for years, but nothing ever really stuck. And a lot of that, I think, was based on the fact that I was really relying on a lot of people to be as excited about a project as I was. And when that didn't happen, I just stopped. And, so I stopped. And I said, I finally said, you know what, screw it. If I'm going to do it, I better just do it. And I can't rely on anybody. And so I'm on this journey, and I'm finding people who are just as hungry, and they're coming on board, which is really exciting. So, but then, the comic noob came along, and it was something that I almost said no to, because as much as I love Rob Anderson, I don't know comics, and I tell that to everybody. I don't have a history of reading them or writing them. It's something that I've always wanted to do when I was in junior high. And I've shared the story a few times where my dreams were crushed because we had a cease and desist from, a bigwig. Oh. And, so my teenage heart was crushed, and I stopped, and then life happened, marriage, divorce, kids, all of that stuff. So now that my kids are grown, I have the time, I have the energy, and I'm like, all the things that I wanted to do back then, I can do now, which is great. So I kind of put it out there that I don't want to grow up, but I do want to grow old, and I want to grow old doing the stuff that I love to do. And I drew boobies.
Yay!
Oh.
I just scratched my husband.
See, at least you can enjoy life without your kids. See, my mom is still stuck with 3. She's got the 20-year-old, she's got the 18-year-old, and then she's got the 5-year-old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And for clarity, Eve's not the 5-year-old.
If you guys didn't know, yeah.
Well, Dave, what about you? What are you working on? What's gotten you to where you picked up the pencil and started getting back into things?
Well, when I finally I graduated from high school and I found out my career was going to fail as a stripper, I decided to take and actually I was going to become a animator for Walt Disney, and I was getting everything lined up for that and everything and all, and I didn't know at the time, I was adamant at being a Disney animator. I'm like, that's its own thing. You can't mix media, that's Disney. So I remember going the comic book store one year, or the year after that, and they had the Danger Size Danger Girl by J. Scott Campbell, the big one, remember that big one? And I got to reading his bio, and lo and behold, he was going to work at Disney and got a career in comic books. And I'm like, oh, well, that's something I can try. And so, yeah, ever since after that, I decided, I tried to get into comics, I do sequentials and stuff like that. But what I just finally decided on, I wanted to do covers. That's something I've always wanted to do. I've always found it interesting. I've always found it a challenge, to do a single story in one picture and try to get your point across like that. But that's what I'm doing now. And I finally, after a 10-year career of doing, some covers here and there and doing commissions, that's what I'm banking on now. I want to stick to covers for comics, and independent field's fine. If I never make it to the big 2, that's great. I'm fine with that. I love the independent world. I love doing stuff for them. I get to meet people like you. I've said it every time we're on here. I get to meet people like you guys, which is to me more of a blast than even doing some of the jobs. But yeah, I'm gonna stick to comics. When Tom let me do the Big Dog Ink covers, I got hungry, and I'm ready to do it again. And I've got some stuff coming up that I can't reveal yet. Dun, dun, dun. But yeah, I'm gonna go full steam into doing comic covers.
Very cool. And Justin, what about you?
So I started with artwork way back in elementary and middle school. My first published piece was I was 17 or 18. And then joined the military and had a really great military career in the Army. And, I've got, you get out of some details, hey, can you do a painting of this instead of going out here and doing this patrol or whatever? And so I got some stuff hanging in different places. And then when I got out of the Army, I started picking up the pencils and paints. And a lot of it is serendipity. You ask anybody who's a success in it, a lot of them have been in the right place at the right time, met the right person, took the risk, took the opportunity to try something. So I was doing a lot of stuff, and last probably about 4 years now, I've been successful. I consider it a success. Doing what did I do? 26 shows last year, I think.
Wow.
So and then the covers coming out and stuff like that. I have several covers still on the table. I just did a really cool one for Big Dog Inc.'s Goth Day along with David, which I did pick up one of yours, David. So
my God, thank you.
Yeah, I like the score work you did. I thought it was pretty cool.
I got both of y'all's. Yeah, so yeah.
But where's it going for me? So if you look at my Instagram and if you're friends with me on Facebook, you'll see I don't have a comic style. I draw based on what the publisher needs. So I draw photorealistic, I paint, I airbrush, I color pencil, I do pencils, I do black and white. So it depends on what they're looking for. So it's really hard sometimes to look at something like, oh, that's a Justin Hunt piece. And then you see my name and you're like, is that the same Hunt who did this one? Which I think is kind of cool because then you're not locked into this box, and people, you can get different works. And I've done some sequentials and I hate it. I absolutely hate it because you're really taking somebody else's story and they're saying at this scene, the camera's over here and this guy's over here. And you go back and you're like, well, you have 4 different actions and you want one panel. And the reality is maybe I can get 3 panels for 4 actions, and they don't want to hear it. And then sometimes it doesn't work. And at the end of the day, once it's published, nobody cares what the writer or the editor told you to do. You're based on that final panel. Now, like Dave said, I love doing the covers because they say, here's a concept, run with it. And you just kind of, some of them you go ape shit crazy on them. Brian Polito at Coffin Comics is not the guy you get to do that with. Brian Polito is very specific. There's a large editing thing, but also back in the 1994, this is a dream come true for me. 1994, Lady Death came out. Ended up meeting him years later after I wrote saying, hey, eventually I want to draw for it. I had a Lady Death cover come out. I ended up putting it as a tattoo.
Man.
Because, 20, well, I won't even say I graduated high school over 30 years ago, but many years ago, it was a dream to draw a Lady Death cover. And finally, 3 years ago, our paths crossed and it got to a point where it was my 4th rendition, and it started with one pose and it ended up with something totally different. I've done a couple covers since then with them, but it's so fun doing a cover. And you walk into a comic book convention and you got some of your comps with you and people see them and they're like, oh, you did this one. Or especially if you collaborate with another artist, it's really fun because then you guys are kind of feeding off each other and learning from each other. And it's a really cool journey right now with no cons. And guys, I apologize. I am from New Jersey. I will ramble my ass off. But it's really a fun thing to do. And young Miss Eve up there, she's asked me a couple times, what do you think of this? And I've given her some criticism.
And he'll tell me that my work looks like crap.
I did not say that.
Nah.
I said her not her boobs, the drawing of the boobs were off tilt. But she's got that hunger, and to be able to be asked, hey, what do you think? And I'm actually working on Lady Death pencils, and I'm going to send them to her, and she gets to ink right over my originals for practice. So anyway, and then what she doesn't know is I'm actually going to send them to Coffin Comics. So no
What?
pressure. Yeah, I figured I'd tell you tonight. No pressure. So anyway, other than that, yeah, I'm
Oh, hang on,
I
let's
can't
give-
handle that emotionally.
Hang on, let's give her full screen. Let's see. How do you feel, Eve,
No.
after hearing that news?
I need water.
Wow.
so I'm
Oh,
saying it's going to get published or anything, but I'm going to send it up because one of the best things we can do in this industry is you introduce to somebody else. And Phil's introduced me to some gentlemen that I will actually be working on some covers for soon. And we're all, at the end of the day, our job is to give a reader something to enjoy. So just like an actor gets out there and they provide something, we do the exact same thing. We're here to provide, when we're working on stuff, and Meredith, this is something I think when you're working on your comic, just grab it and put it in there. But our job is to transplant the reader into something that is out of our mind, and we just kind of like extrapolate all these weird ideas and portray it. And like David said, we can tell a story in one picture sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And when you have details, and just go back and look at the Big Dog one I just did. That Mary Magdalene, it has so many little hidden images and pieces and historical recommendation stuff that you can really tell the story, and then you're asking questions and it makes you want to get into it. So I'm just happy. I'm along for the ride. And later tonight, Phil, I got something really cool to help celebrate your 1,000, and congratulations also.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
That is such a huge milestone. 1,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
I know.
I'm floored by it. It's not just the 1,000. It's the fact that this has been going on for about 3 months. Whenever we started this, I think on our channel, we had maybe around 200 followers.
Wow.
So we're talking about 800 followers in 3 months or less. That is phenomenal. So I guess they're not tired of seeing me rant and do all my things on here yet either. So that's great.
It's got to be the Unscripted. I think that's it. James Tiberius really reels him in.
Now, I will say real quick before I get into mine, because I know Russell's over there chomping at the bit. Russell, I have not forgotten about you. And yes, we will get to your comments here very shortly, because I have some visual aids to go along with those. So give me just a moment here.
I can't wait.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I know. So in going with mine, of course, current situation, everything that it is, I'm no longer working in the retail world, which I've had 29 and a half years of retail management. I was really wanting to get out of it anyway, because it created a person that I did not like to see in the mirror every day. Very stressed, very angry, just didn't be around people. And that's not the person you see up here right now by any means. And I was very, very angry at the person I even become. I mean, I was already angry as was, and then I was angry at the person. So there was a lot of negative emotion in there. Now, whenever this happened in the world, it kind of pushed me into this, because, I'll no longer have a job. So it's like, okay, we don't know when we're opening back up. Now, I haven't lost it, but I've lost it to the point of I can't go back right now. And I'm not being negative about that. That's just the facts. But it pushed me into doing this. I already had the online store that we had been working on. We just decided to go ahead and take it up another notch on this and say, you know what, maybe I can start doing this. I had already made some contacts and created a network of some of the artists and everything that I deal with. The main two that I started out with, actually, I'll put the top 3 on there, because they're the ones that started me into all this, was actually Steph Wilson, Luis Torres, and Jimmy Noble, which cannot be here tonight. And I'm sorry he can't. And he's probably watching this maybe, or he'll be watching it later. Thank you.
He remembers.
Oh, he will. Trust me. I'm going to send him a bunch of messages. But it's one of those things that they allowed me to peek behind the curtain. So in doing so, now I'm seeing things from a different perspective. Perspective can change the way that you view more than just your job. It changes the way you view people and humanity and everything. So I'm trying to make as big of a difference as I can here. Now, what I'm doing here with the interviews, the book reviews, that's good, great, wonderful and all. I also do the marketing for crowdfunding. I'm getting more and more into that, which is great. But I wanted to go a step further. So Eve and I have been working on something, and I can go ahead and officially say that I'm not going to tell you what it is yet, but I can tell you right now, it is an exclusive cover that we are working on for my online store. So we don't have a
true.
Yeah, we don't have a brick and mortar, but she will be working on our first ever exclusive cover that we'll be having. Now,
Whoa!
I said no whenever other people have told me to do this before because I'm like, I don't have a brick and mortar, so I don't have a store. What's the point? And they said, you have a name of a store, so therefore you have an opportunity to do this. They said, do you think they would sell? Well, yeah. So this is what we're working on. Now, there are other things that I'm working on as well. There are other exclusives that are now in the works as well. But Eve will be my first. I want her to be the first one to go ahead and produce this. If everything works according to time frame, second week of July. Meredith, I'm sure you know a little bit about what that week happens to do with anything over there. So that's what I'm shooting for, is to have it ready for your con for that.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the plan. So no pressure, Eve. I mean, pressure from Lady Death and now pressure from this. I mean, can you handle all this?
I almost cried at that first part.
Oh, you don't cry at doing a pantsless
She doesn't
pizza
cry
cover?
for
What's up with that?
Phil.
Wait a minute. Whoa. And we got to go back here. Why are you not crying at doing a pantsless pizza cover? You're crying at a Lady Death, but you're not going to cry at pantsless pizza?
Well, I'm not gonna cry because it's got sexy women on it. So I mean, and I'm gonna be. I'm responsible for creating the image. So I can't cry. I can't sob like she's got big breasts. She's got something I don't have. That's probably one reason to cry. And there goes Meredith, like just rubbing it in my face.
Every time somebody says breast, I'm just gonna put that up here. Okay.
It's not the size of the toppings; it's how many you got.
How many you got?
That's
I've
how-
got one movie. 3 boobs lady. That's a lot.
You haven't seen Total Recall?
Total Recall, exactly.
Yeah, there we go. That's the movie.
See, the thing is, every guy knows that. You start talking about boobs, and it's like we automatically just gravitate Total Recall.
That and the barbed wire opening scene.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, we're right on par with that. Now, speaking of boobs, last night had the absolute pleasure of having Christy Shin on as interview, and we did it late for a reason, and I'm glad we did. And I'm very surprised that Facebook still allows me to go ahead and broadcast, but they still do, so everything's still good. We had a ton of fun. I mean, a ton. Meredith was over there crying at one point. At several points, I think she kept putting up there. She was crying, barking, and making all kinds of noises over there.
I was screaming. It was
So if you don't know who Christy Shin is, she does a series called Demon Bitch, which is a let's just put it this way: it's not one of those books that you open up trying to find the secret of life or anything in there. Very lighthearted, very in your face, sometimes more so than it should be, different things like that. So she went ahead and she did a live draw, and I'm going to go ahead and go full screen with myself on this one because I have 2 different ones.
Oh, you guys are going to like this.
Now, this one is actually one that I can see having as like the mascot. She did a great job with that. Yes, exactly.
Awesome.
And she drew this thing in like a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
If that.
Now, Russell. Russell's in the audience, and Russell does what he does best over there, and he stirs the pots. And he said, because we had talked to her about in one of her shows where she took one of the prominent political characters and drew boobs on him and created a woman type character and whatnot.
Oh no.
And Russell said, I want a demon manga female, big boobed. Yeah. There you go, Russell. She lives.
Oh my god.
That is demon Phil, manga, female, big boob, the whole shebang.
There are men
If
in Japan that are 80 years old and cosplay in schoolgirl outfits, and that's what that reminded me of.
Uh-huh.
if you don't cosplay that,
And Russell put in here big old thick dummy demon Phil. I need to bribe her for those. I had a talk with her in the green room afterwards. She promised me, she swore that it will not go any further than to me, and that if I want to send it out, that's one thing. I will say this right now, Russell. This is going to be part of the giveaway that I will have on Saturday.
Oh my god.
So you need to make sure you're there, or that you're knocking people over the head to make sure they can't beat you in some of the things, because you have to participate and win to get into my giveaways. Everybody here knows that. So
what I hear is that Eve, David, and I each have to do our own renditions of Big Boob Phil now.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
We might as well just do that now.
no, because see, Meredith's going to start drawing right now too. She's already got half of it done.
Table.
I've already got the boobs done.
Just draw the head on.
Oh, we can do them like the one in Little Nicky.
Oh yeah.
Or like the
I feel like I should do that right now.
that guy with the tiny head.
Popeye's chicken's the shiznit. We lost Eve. All right, who snorted? Somebody snorting over there.
Eve, you have headsets on? Because if not, your mom's going to be knocking on the door soon.
I got earbuds. I got earpieces on. I mean, they're kind of crappy, but they do the trick. I told my mom, like, if you hear me like screaming, don't come in. But we're Hispanic, so that's normal. Oh.
Woo!
I set myself up for that one.
Hey Phil, since you brought up the giveaways, let me just. I told you I had a surprise for you.
Okay.
You got 1,000 followers. I'm gonna let you do your randomizer or whatever it's called, and one of your fans. You just give me their name and their contact. I'll reach out to them. I got about 100 blanks sitting in my studio, and I will knock out a free link, and I will pay for shipping and send it to them.
Holy crap!
Oh,
okay. That's thank you.
What?
That is amazing. Now I will say this with everybody that's here right now, and this needs to get shared out, and you have really got to just share this all over the place
And
let everyone know, because
the
He's
little
not done.
circle.
He's not done.
At the bottom, I will put a little circle with Big Boob Demon Phil.
Yes.
Oh, he's gonna do a remark of Big Boom Demon Phil. That's great.
Yes.
Demon Phil.
But that's what I want to do, to say congratulations. I think you're doing a great thing, and I think it's just a nice way to give to your fans.
Well, I definitely appreciate that. And to my fans, I want to go ahead and say, of course, thank you, everyone that's here, but definitely share this out, not just that information. You need to share to get everyone involved this Saturday. So not tonight, of course, because it's already passed up on that time, but this Saturday coming up at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is whenever we go live with that. I will have a panel of guests up there. I'm not going to say who they are. You're going to have to wait and see. Some are returning guests, some are new guests. I don't like talking about myself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask them certain questions about milestones they've gone through and everything, and kind of live vicariously through my guest, giving them their time. In so of doing that, each of them will be given an opportunity to go ahead and give a certain task that will be given to the audience that is present only. The only way you can win any of this stuff is if you are present. That is why I need a huge crowd here with this. If you're present and you answer the question and you answer it first, or whatever their number they're looking for, you will win a certain prize with that. We'll have certain giveaway prizes we're going to do, and I will announce those throughout the week. The grand prize. The grand prize so far, with Justin, with David. David has donated on this. I've gotten so many donations on so many things on here. I'm looking at probably over a dozen things that are being donated on here, with probably incorporated in there. You're probably looking at about 20 different pieces in the grand prize.
Nice.
It's going to be huge.
Awesome.
So you're going to have to work for it. You're going to have to work for it throughout the week. The instructions for that are going to start coming out tomorrow.
Okay.
It will incorporate being at my shows. It's kind of like a point system. You get points for being there. You get points for sharing. You get points for reaching out to certain people. There are different things I'm going to have you doing. It's going to be like
Nice.
almost like what do you call it, where you go looking for things on the map?
Scavenger.
Scavenger hunt.
Yes, scavenger hunt. There you go. Something like that. To go ahead and do that. I think it'd be fun to do that. It'd be interactive. It'll create a lot of energy.
Nice.
And then by the time it comes up to it and we actually do the drawing for it, you have to be present. And then you will have a final task that will have to be completed. So even though you may be ahead on points, if you do not complete the final task on there or you're not present, you may be ahead on points and you may not have a chance to win this grand prize. And that's going to hurt a lot.
Wow.
So make sure you are present for this. I know a lot of people are essential with work, things like that and everything. 7 o'clock in the evening is not too bad. I will not do the grand prize until we're toward the end of the show, which is going to be about a 2-hour show. So 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Saturday. That runs right about 6 o'clock on Central, or I'm sorry, on Pacific. That should be fine on that. That'll give plenty of time for most people to get on that. So it's going to be a huge deal. I really want to make this big. This means a lot to me because this is not about me. This is not about me growing and everything. The 1,000, yes, it gets me up there and it gets me to have more attention so that I can make everyone else get more attention. That is my whole point in all of this. Whenever I get every one of my guests up here, it's about their story. It's about what they have to offer. Whenever I do Unscripted could very easily be just me talking to myself here the entire time and making myself laugh and, having a blast with it and drinking and doing that. But, that's only fun for a couple of times and you forget what you're doing and it's no longer fun. I rather enjoy getting other people up here, expressing and having the fun with y'all, and then going ahead and changing things up. Like we change up the seats every once in a while too, which is a lot of fun. By the way, just so everybody knows, because before I forget, Christy Shin will have a seat next week. She has claimed a seat. So there's no telling what she will draw, who she will draw next week, Russell Allen. So thank you. I cannot say that enough. Thank you very much for going ahead and getting me to this point and getting the show to this point, because it has been more. What is that?
Yeah.
Oh, Eve's got something else going over there. Okay, I see. Yeah, but I mean, getting me to this point has been huge because I can keep going and I can keep bringing more and more people in here. And as it stands right now, the show is actually booked for an entire month, which is amazing.
Wow.
Whoa.
I am going to regular days. I keep saying that and I keep not doing that, but I am going to regular days. Getting back to what we were talking about, I am going to start working on my own comic.
Awesome.
I have a book that I started probably 15-ish years ago. I backed it up on 2 separate hard drives. I was maybe a few chapters away from finishing it. Both hard drives were corrupted in several moves and whatnot. I lost everything. So everything I have is up here, is no longer typed out or anything like that. So I'm having to start over, which is fine because writing the novel is one thing. Now that I'm inside of the comic industry and everybody's accepted me as much as you have, I decided to go ahead and make that in a comic form. I think that would be the proper thing to do with that. I can tell you right now that everyone that's here is going to play a part in this. I know that for a fact. So I will be getting with y'all on that as I get going, because
awesome.
I'm working on networking as I'm going through with this as well, because each one of you have things to offer on all of this as well. It's not a matter of I'm picking and choosing just because Justin's, popular at this time, or David, I love the way that your hair looks underneath that hat right now. I actually choose you because, because you have something to offer to everyone that's out there in the audience and everyone out there that's watching this now and later and all. But also you have something to offer to me whenever I go ahead and get this done. Meredith, whenever you have yours coming up, I know you're working with the team already on some things that you're wanting to get done with that. And that's amazing because nothing can be done alone.
Yes, exactly.
So that leads me into my next thing. Oh, hang on. Russell's been busy. Hang on a second.
No.
First of all, Luis Torres is in here. Thank you, Luis, for being here. And Luis said Pantsless Pizza. Yes, absolutely. And there will be a lot more reveals to go along with Pantsless Pizza, pun intended. Russell Allen wants to know what size shirt do I wear. Do I really need to? I don't know. That seems like a trap. I'm telling you right now. If I had a GIF right now, I'd put it up. It's a trap. Russell, let's go ahead and say 3X to 4X, depending upon where you get it. If you get it from China or something like that, it's got to be like a 4X because that's like an extra large to them. Let's see. Russell says he's always here. Yeah, I know. Bring it on, Phil. I'm not scared. I can't wait for her to draw me on Pantsless Russ Explode with extra sausage. Yeah. Remember my signature porn star moves to unload.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I need to keep drinking for that one. All right. Louis Torres, Codex Entertainment has got your back, Phil. Louis, I know that. Louis and I are working on something on the side as well. I can definitely say that out loud. I'm not going to say exactly what it is. There's a lot of, everybody has secret projects. The cool thing is that people are actually, it used to be that I had to go hunt people down and say, would you like to be on the show? Would you like to do this? Would you like to do this possibly? I have always, from the time I started on this, and I think everyone that's here can go ahead and vouch on this. I know everyone in the audience should be able to vouch for this. Every time I go to anybody, it's always, what can I do for you? I'd like to have you on the show to go ahead and get exposure for you. I'd like to get you, get at your book to go ahead and review so I can get more exposure for you. This has not been about getting me out there. So now it's starting to come full circle where I'm seeing people doing that. And that is completely humbling to me to actually go through that. So thank you to everybody who has done that, to everybody that is here and everybody who will be watching. I mean, a heartfelt thank you to that.
It's a family, Phil. I mean, that's the one thing I learned about the comic book industry is I could walk up to Terry Dodson and he'll show me how to work on something. I can ask Art Adams and he'll definitely tell me when my anatomy is incorrect. But everybody wants everybody else to be a success because collectively we work better together. So I think we're all here to support you.
Yep.
Now that kind of brings up into the next thing. And I do positive shows and everything. So this is a factual positive. Don't get this as a negative thing. Meredith, as soon as I start talking about this, you're going to go ahead and chime in. You're already going to know. So I've been having an issue with a problem that's been called imposter syndrome. Now, if you don't know what that is, and Eve's kind of looking kind of odd about that, we're gonna describe that. So out of everybody here, Meredith even she's written some books and stuff like that. I haven't done anything as far as anything within the industry or anything like that. So I am the outsider is what I consider myself, or considered. I'm doing better. Considered. So you get to the point with imposter syndrome, you go ahead and look at yourself as, do I belong here? Should I keep this up? Should I continue? Do they accept me for who I am? Am I actually just somebody who gets on stage and plays the part and then I'm a totally different person where I'm not on stage? These are things that people go ahead and they fight through on a regular basis. And I'm going to tell you right now, I have been struggling with that until recently. As you all know, and should know most everybody here, this past Wednesday, I had Brian Polito on as my guest. Now, I'm not going to say that there is one guest that is higher than anybody else, but everybody has a few they can count on a hand where they're like, these are the dream guests or the dream people that I want to meet in person. Top three in this industry that I ever want to meet in person or be able to talk to or anything, that man is on one of them. I got to meet one of my dreams. It was cool. I mean, it was amazing. And the things that were said in the green room afterwards and all, I'm not going to go into detail because it was between me and him, but fully accepted. What happened afterwards, though, I'm going to give a shout out to Chuck Pinot. I'm going to give a shout out to Brian K. Morris. I'm going to give a shout out to Anderson Robb. Let's see who else. Luke Stone. Meredith. Who else? Jim Noble. And if I'm missing anybody else, I apologize. But they all reached out to me afterwards and almost had the exact same thing to say. They said, if you thought you were an imposter before, who'd you just have? And that made me think. It was like, holy crap. Brian Polito doesn't get on any show unless he actually researches and knows what's going on, because he's not going to put his brand at risk with anybody that's interviewing him, point blank and simple. He has turned down more interviews than most anybody in the industry. And he's agreed to more interviews in the future, which I'm like, wow. I mean, this is just blowing my mind. That being said, again, there's the humility that's involved in there, because I could come off of this going, shh, hey, you want to get on my show? Now you got to get on my Patreon. That I don't even have one, so don't even get started with that. But I could create one, and you could get on my Patreon. That's the only way you're going to get on here, is you got to be a guest to be on there, and the only way you're going to get on here is you've got to go ahead and promote my show, 15 times over, and I got to see things on there. Da, 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 da. Absolutely not. And everyone that's here can attest to that. Who I am is who I am going to continue to be. I'm starting to get into monetary fields with this, which is great, because doing this for fun and for free is fun for a while, but then after a while, pork and beans gets to where it's kind of stale, even though it lasts forever, so to speak. So there is some good out of this, and like Justin said, I just want to kind of piggyback on there, and Justin's absolutely right. From Jersey, even though I moved here and everything, we are very long-winded, so I apologize, but it is, I consider this to be a family. Whenever I come on and I do these things, it's like I am either bringing on a family member, or I'm finding out there's a new one. There are certain people that I can bring on that sometimes I'm like, I have no clue what I'm going to do with this and everything. I've done research and all. Then we get on there and we just have that flow that goes perfectly on there. The tempo is perfect. We get in the green room after we start talking, and things just progress from there. I have made some amazing friends from doing this, aside from just the colleagues and the networking, and I thank everyone for that as well. Because everyone that's in here, I consider every one of you friends. We've talked in private on a lot of different things, and it's very cool in that, because sometimes I feel like I am incredibly busy on my side with what I do. I know every one of you are busy with what you do, and sometimes I felt like I'd be bothering you at some points. I'm going to go ahead and shout out to David right now, who told me straight up, he said, let's not just do this just on shows. Let's get on here every once in a while and just have a blast. Let's just go down.
Yeah. Just shoot the shit. I mean,
exactly.
We're all friends here. I consider most of you guys, but we're in the friend zone, but we're kind of getting that family thing that's getting a little bit higher. So like, yeah, I mean, I think it'd be a blast just to like hang out one day and just shoot the shit.
That means you can pass gas in front of each other now.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
I thought
Now
that was already okay.
Don't force it.
Yeah.
I don't want to see you walk out the room with the stain in the back. Yeah.
No shirting. No shirting.
Now, just in case it gets too bad, I do have my mask right here, so just in case.
I gotta worry about this one doing it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, shh, hey, we can't have fun anymore because we got another person in here. Shh.
Oh man. And here we go.
Now, wait a minute. I gotta clarify real quick, because I'm a little skeptical. Is that James as in James Jr., or are we talking to James the dad? Because it'll all change on how I talk to him right now.
Well,
James, no, well, Jim. I think it's Jim.
he should have come into this with James Tiberius.
Yes.
Hey,
That's the name. That's the name.
up there.
What's that?
I want to see what Eve is penciling.
What are you working on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got some.
I know, but I want to see it.
Oh, hang on.
I'm
Let
not
me give
sure
that.
if you guys can see it.
It's filled with boobs.
Hang on.
I see
It
boobs.
is.
Wow, with the headset and everything. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. I am.
Yeah.
Hey, damn! I do me.
Got the hentai physique.
Theme song for Williams.
James, you're not in hell. You're in Unscripted, buddy. I thought we were okay with Unscripted. Even though the demon's here, it's not hell. I mean, well, I don't know, maybe.
Are there boobs in hell?
Yes.
No.
I hope so.
There's a lot of confused feelings.
Maybe that's what hell actually is. No boobs.
Hell is
Oh!
Poor beer. That would be terrible. That would really
Imagine
be
if that was it. Living through puberty, just
Nuh-uh.
No.
Nah.
Yeah.
Going through the same divorce over and over and over again. Oh, hell no. No.
No, no.
You would have heard that though.
Okay. So this keeps getting brought up in several other shows and things, especially whenever I'm not just the host, but whenever I'm actually in their audience talking, whatever. And Steph Wilson has kind of called me out on this a few times. So I guess I'm going to have to go digging because I don't have any digital pictures of this. Number one, my first car was a 77 Trans Am. Steph Wilson doesn't believe me, so he wants to see pictures. So I will show pictures. That's no problem. But I have to dig them out of I've got a safe that I have to dig them out because I actually have Polaroids and all that mess from back in the day. But I have pictures of whenever I had hair, and I used to have hair down to the middle of my back. So I will have to dig those out. I see all of the jaws dropping on this right now.
Wait, I'm late on the reaction.
Now, here is, I miss you guys. LOL. I never want to miss Unscripted ever again. Yeah, we definitely want you back. That is for certain. I mean, it's.
You know what? No, we have our humility. Jim, we don't want you back.
So Jim went ahead and drew his own boobs there. So we got those.
I'm sporting the totally rad tank.
Oh, yeah. And Lewis didn't even ahead and mention that.
Yep. Totally rad. I'm going to have to wear this from now on.
You are. That's going to have to be your Unscripted shirt right there.
Until I get like a Phil hentai.
Oh, hang on a second. Hang on.
Oh my God.
Wow, Fabio, look at that.
Wow.
It kind of reminds me of like Handsome Shrek, but with longer hair.
Come on, donkey.
Man.
Wow, she didn't even pause on that one. She was just like straight up Handsome Shrek. She just went straight into it.
I've looked at enough Shrek to know. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
That picture though.
That is too much.
That's good.
That is great. The day that I went bald, no lie, I was married at the time. I had come home from work. It was hot because, living in Texas and everything, it's hot, every day. There's no days it's not actually. So I went in there and I sat down and I was like, man, this sucks. I wanted to go take a shower and everything. Whenever you take a shower, of course, you have long hair, you have to shampoo and conditioner and, do all that mess. And I was like, you know what? I got the razor right here. I need to go ahead and shave the beard and everything, get it trimmed down. You know what? Let's just see what it'll do. And I went straight down the middle. And whenever I did, I was like, hey, I'm committed now. So I just went ahead and went the whole thing. So my wife came in. I was sitting on the couch and she came in the door. And as you come in, she can only see the back of me. She came in and I kid you not, she dropped the groceries and thought that someone was in there about to rob the place or something. She did not realize it was me.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I've been shaving my head since probably 21 years ago. I mean, before it was even cool is whenever I started doing it.
Wow.
Well, there's a reason. My entire family on both sides,
so
most every male in there is bald or balding. My great-great-grandfather, he was the only one that had a full head of hair. And, of course, I have a lot of family in New Orleans, so I'm going to have to go into the Cajun accent on this one. But my pappy come up to me and he said, now, Bubba, because nickname Bubba. So get over that. We're going to have some fun with that one. I'm sure later Russell's all over this one. Now, Bubba, when your pappy die and your hair no good no more, your hair going to go goodbye. And second day around, it's going to go no hair. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, Pappy, whatever. Well, he lived to the ripe old age of 100 and passed away.
Wow.
It wasn't 2-3 days later, the receding hairline went, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? So that's whenever I was sitting there and I sat on that sofa and I was like, you know what? Nope. And just went ahead and started at it. The day he went bald was the day he became Demon Phil, sold his soul to acquire boobies.
It's the day the music died.
Hence the 4X.
Exactly. You got to have some room. I mean, they got to breathe a little.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
the chafing or whatever y'all call it.
Deodorant.
Oh my god.
Hey.
I just lift mine and tuck a pencil. I don't use it. Go to the coffee cup. I'm like, hold on, let me draw.
It would be. That's what I need to have for Sworn Fest is have the coin up underneath there. They'll be like, "Oh, we got you." Be like, "Oh, no, you didn't."
I'll be there.
Oh yeah, I'll be there. I've got my ticket and everything, and yeah, we'll definitely be there. Actually, need to work on getting a place to stay, but I got the ticket already. You do?
Yeah.
Okay, we need to talk about that then, because
Let's talk
cool.
offline.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, but it'll be my first time going. I'm definitely looking forward to that. I have so many people in the Sworn Nation that have told me that I have to go.
It's a trip.
Because I'm getting more and more involved in the Sworn Nation, which is cool because they want to buy me drinks and of course they want to get me drunk, I'm sure.
Be careful.
They have warned me. I've had so many people say, you better have that coin. What's that?
There's a couple of them when they offer you the Sworn Moonshine. If you have hair, you won't after it. I swear to God, I thought I was going to die.
Yeah. I have...
and you better have
paying attention to them. Yeah.
Yep. All time.
There was one of them he posted just recently, and he had like 4 brand new bottles that he had made up. And he made someone made a comment that had been to Fiend Fest and said something effective. Well, 4 of those bottles like that may last you at least a couple of hours or something like that. And everybody was kind of laughing. And I was thinking, they're not joking.
Wow.
If a gentleman named Dennis walks up to you and asks you if you want to drink, then you know you are in trouble.
Yeah.
So
what? Hang
good.
on. We have a celebrity in the house. Angry artist in the house.
Oh!
William Russell, welcome to the show. I haven't seen you in here before. Thank you for coming up. Lewis said, Jim is drunk and in the freezer again.
He goes like the full mask.
I
swear he looks like Jim Carrey.
That was phenomenal with Jim living in the freezer out of his phone and everything. That was great. If you missed that show last week, that was funny as all get out, because we thought he was joking about having to put his phone in the freezer, and we thought he was actually sitting in front of his freezer with the freezer door open. Then he decides, give me just a minute, I'll be right back, and he literally closes the freezer door with his phone in there, and we're like, his phone is actually in the freazer. We lost it. We were done.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got on DM with him afterwards. I said, please don't forget your pizza, because I didn't want him to burn down the house. So.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of really cool things that are going on right now, and a lot of cool things we've talked about and all. Now, in going with, because we keep getting off topic, that's always great with Unscripted. We can do that though; it's fun. So we were talking about the imposter syndrome. So I'm going to kind of go around a little bit on this one, because this is a good topic to kind of get into, to kind of figure out some things. And it's very lighthearted, because we don't need to go all dark topic by any means. But Eve, have you ever felt like you didn't belong, or that you're in the wrong group of people, or something like that?
I think that's pretty much like me growing up until now, because I was raised, and my relatives that were around my age, like my cousins and my brother, all boys groups. So I was always involved with like games and whatever else they were playing with. So of course I got into like little video games, and subsequently all of my friends just happened to be boys because they were playing the same video games, and it was just weird. And then as you grow up and you hit puberty, you're like, wait a second, is this normal? Is this not? And then you kind of just get over it. And I'm still, at first when I started drawing all these comic-based illustrations, I was like, I don't know if I'm in the right place, because the people that don't make original sort of illustrations, they get more attention, and they're dudes, and I'm trying to do my own original stuff, and I'm trying to like, sort of put myself out there and not necessarily compete in an unhealthy way, but compete with like everybody else and learn things from other people. So I was like, oh man, I don't know if I even belong. But then eventually, because I always had in mind that, the big two, and then there's Dynamite as another big one. I always thought that it was just that world. And then I didn't ever think about the indie comic scene, and I've never felt so at home here. And I could, message anybody about anything, whether it be art, whether it be like freaking boobs in a comic book. Like I go to Jim first. Yeah, like I can ask anybody for anything, and it's great. They give me an answer. Like a good conversation comes from it, and advice. So I feel at home now.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you right now that you definitely belong, and for whatever that's worth, me saying that and everything, I'm just letting you know, you definitely belong, and because with you missing some time and everything and being vacant, there were a lot of people that were asking about you and trying to find out what was going on and reaching out to you, and that's huge, because if you don't mean anything, why are people reaching out to you? That right there talks about what you mean to other people.
Yeah,
and again, like Justin said, the family.
Yeah.
Now, Meredith, if you want to go ahead and do this. Now, remember, this is not a full panel, so we don't need to go a full 2 or 3 hours on this. But
yeah. Well, no, I mean, when Brian K. Morris had his show on imposter syndrome, it was one of those things where I kind of opened up a lot, because for me, growing up, being a creative person, I was like the alien in the family. My parents had no idea what the hell to do with me. They're like, oh, you want to sing? Oh, you want to draw? Oh, you want to do dance? They're like, who are you? And what do I do with this child? So I don't feel like I had a lot of the support when I was growing up from my family. Though they loved me, they just didn't know what the hell to do with me. So
yeah,
it wasn't until I was much older, where I'm almost 50, guys, and I can sit here and I can flash ridiculous art, and not call myself an artist, because I'm not, but because I finally got to a point where I just didn't care. I didn't need affirmation from anybody else, because I have to consider my own work ethic and hope that it's good enough. And, and I put it out there, whatever it is, whether I'm writing or doing ridiculous things or podcasting. If I stopped and I doubted myself every single time, I wouldn't get anything done. Mm-hmm. So as much as I love my family, I don't like them all the time, because they're not the support that I need as far as the creative endeavors. So when it comes to building my family now, everybody that I meet who helps me on my path, who lifts me up, who lifts other people up, they are friends. And like David was saying earlier, you become friends, and eventually those friends become family. And you know who those people are almost immediately, because you have that connection with them. You can talk to them, you can joke around. And it's like, this is the first time that I'm sitting with everybody here except for Demon Phil. Mm-hmm. And I feel so comfortable joking around and all that, because it's just that feeling of just that friendship, and helping each other along, having a good time, having a drink, and so when it comes to imposter syndrome, trust me, there are things that I've stopped doing years ago because I doubted myself. And I finally got over myself to say, what, screw it. If I'm not going to do it now, when? If not me, who? Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's really, without going on and on about it.
Now, let me see. Lewis just put something up here. Let me see what we got here. Oh, hang on. We actually had a couple things come up. First off, Russell. Meredith, I loved your book and can't wait for the next book to release and start the full series. I actually need to see that book. We'll get together on that afterwards as well. Because for some reason, the link did not work for me. It kept kicking me back. I don't know what was up with that.
Oh, okay.
I've been having issues with internet and electronics and whatever all for a lot of time here.
You're electric, baby.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the bald head and everything, I guess it treats me as powder around here. I don't know what it is. I know I need a tan, but damn. And Lewis said, whenever I saw Eve's work, I thought to myself, this chick's going places. I need her on my cover, and I've got to let my buds know about her. I was not disappointed. Her cover came out just fantastic. Now,
Nice.
before I get to Dave and Justin on this, and going ahead and kind of touching on this real quick. So the way that we all found out about Eve, Lewis sent me a message, a Facebook message, and he said, hey, are you available to jump on a thing right now and check out an artist? And I'm like, sure. And he said, well, I'm going to get, some other artists and some creative team members and everything. The first thing I said, and he can vouch on this, is like, are you sure you want me there? That's one of those imposter syndrome things. He actually wanted me there for a reason, and I kind of doubted myself. I'm glad that he said that he wanted me there and everything, because I got to go see what she was working on. And that's where there was a majority of us in there. So what it boils down to is Lewis wanted her to work on a Lily the Demoness on a cover, just to go ahead and do something, but wanted to see how, what she would do first, kind of give her a trial and error session. So Eve decided, I'll take that and raise the stakes on this one. I'll do it live draw. That to me showed some serious gumption on that. I mean, that was a lot that she put into it. And that's where you throw caution to the wind and you go ahead and say, this is my one shot that I'm going to take, and I'm going to really take it as best I can. And it's worked out for her, and it is working out. And as she just found out this evening with Justin, it could be working out very, very well. And then it could be working out even very, very, very well, because you'll have the Pantsless Pizza too. I mean, Lady Death is one thing, but Pantsless Pizza, come on.
I mean, come on. I mean, we'll see how pantsless it goes. That's what I'm nervous about.
If Brian watches this later, he's going to be like, oh, Pantsless is better than Lady Death, huh? There goes your Swornfest ticket.
Pantsless La Muerta? What?
Whoa, no. None of that. That will never happen. Trust me.
Don't do the sacrilege.
No. It's that whenever we talk about sacrilege is the name of a title of a book. It's not something you want to do to the Coffin Comics.
Oh.
When you're blacklisted, you're blacklisted. It's like they have a whole desert they can lose you in out there.
There's a lot of.
But what I was getting to is that she took her shot. It paid off, and it's still in the process of paying off and everything. Lewis took a shot on her, and Lewis could have very easily said, yeah, don't do a live draw. Just go ahead and shoot me whatever you got whenever it's finished, and I'll take that. So Lewis saw that there was a little something extra in that. Whenever she was on there drawing, if you've ever watched her do a live draw, she has that charisma about her that while she's doing it, she can actually draw, talk, keep up with things, except for whenever she gets cut off because her music gets her, banned from Facebook and whatnot.
Yeah. That's why I do dubstep. It's dubstep now.
So it's just one of those things that when you took the shot and it paid off, that's a very good thing to do. And that's why I wanted to bring up what Lewis put on there, because it does mean a lot that you did that. What did Russell put now? It's all that thick demon energy causes disruption in the space-time continuum. See, the times whenever Russell's going to be quiet, whenever he's around me, I'll know he's pissed off at me. So at least I know, we're still cool on all this. He has messaged me and he has said, if I'm ever too much on this, let me know. But yeah, it's all good. Lewis said Eve's got balls and it went in her favor. Proud of you, girl.
Thanks, Lewis. Honestly, Lewis pretty much brought us all together full circle, because I would not know you, I would not know Jim, would not know Lewis, of course.
Yep.
But it turned out to be pretty good.
Now
that's what matters more out of it.
Now, David, we're going to go to you on this one with the imposter syndrome. Have you ever felt like that, and what'd you do on that?
Oh yeah, I think honestly, like Eve and Meredith, they really touched on what I was going to say at the beginning. But the only thing with me is my family was really artistic in one way or another. My dad, or my uncle done rebuilt cars and everything, and all, and done body work on cars and stuff and everything. My mom was like, she was an artist. She didn't take it very far, but she done like quilt work and everything and all, quilts and everything and all. And my sister, she was even an artist. She was a better artist than me in high school, and she won a bunch of awards and everything. She never took it very far. But I always had the support of my parents. That's one thing that no matter what I'd done, they was always like, reach for it, do it, don't even think twice, just go. The one time I did feel it, and I think all you guys will probably agree with this, was my first Comic-Con. I walked in and I was like, what the hell am I doing here? And it was a bigger con. And actually, the first Comic-Con I ever done was Chicago Comic-Con. I went balls to the wall and got the table. A bunch of us got a table and we did it. I walked in. I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? And then and I felt that. I felt like I literally felt this tall when I walked in. And what was cool is during the day, I ended up meeting Ebaz and Mark Silvestri and all these guys. And they really, David Finch, and they really welcomed me in. They was like, oh, let me see your portfolio. And they'd be like, oh, and then I got feeling better about it. Now, to this day, and I'm going to say this, I don't mean to keep repeating myself. When I go to a con or something like this, it is family. It's, you walk in, you feel comfortable. Now, it's my family away from my family. So yeah, at the beginning I did really bad. I was thinking, and even here recently with Tom and Big Dog Inc., I'm like, why the hell is he hiring me to do these covers? He's got all these great artists, and he's like, why the hell is he hiring me? And I even told him, I'm like, dude, why are you hiring me? He's like, because I see something in you. He goes, trust me. And so yeah, to this day, even sitting here with Eve and Meredith and Justin and even Phil, I even have that in the back of my mind just a little bit. I feel like, oh, what am I doing here? And not to ramble on, this podcast thing's a new thing to me. I've said it, I've done the SAN, I've done my own thing once in a while, but I'm very new to this. This is probably maybe the 6th podcast I've done, including all of Phil's. So this is something new to me, and this is something I'm trying to get used to too. So also at the same time, when I log on to these right before I do them, I get that feeling, just that little bit of that imposter feeling. So yeah, I mean, I'm better with it, but yeah, when I try something new, it definitely kicks in, and I think that's with all artists. I think that all artists is oh shit, what to get myself into. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Holy shit, what am I doing?
Yeah, that's because we're all choosing the path that's a gamble, and it's really only a gamble if you're not working that hard. So it's really just about honest work, hard work.
Question to you four, does this feel like work to you guys?
Funny thing you should say that is it doesn't feel like work, but I am working my ass off and putting in these crazy hours.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane. It's insane. But chasing a dream, it's to put it bluntly, it's shit or get off the pot.
Exactly.
I mean, are you doing this for fun, or are you doing this to actually do something and maybe earn some money off of it and a living and infamy maybe, for Phil here with the, demon boobs and all.
Ruling the world. Taking over the world. But yeah, I mean, that's all I get. So you and Eve pretty much said what I wanted to say. I mean, except for the Comic-Cons and my family, but yeah, I still have it once in a while.
Now, before we get to Justin, I just want to say real quick, because I am a Patreon on BDI, so I got to see things before they come out. Now, whenever I saw Justin's name on there, it's like, oh, hang on, he's actually done some Lady Death and everything. That's cool. And also, I kind of had a little bit of a buffer zone to work off of because I had seen some of his style and everything, which wasn't the same, by the way. And we'll get to that here in a little bit too. But with you, David, it was cool because yours came out, and if I recall correctly, it was just the black and white.
Yeah.
That we saw on Patreon. none of us had anything to even say on it. We couldn't even comment because we were all like, there was so much detail because we didn't know, we weren't as familiar with you. And whenever Tom brings somebody on, he brings somebody on for a purpose. Tom does not just, like you said, he won't just go out and, hire off the street and say, let's give you a shot. I spun the wheel this morning and your name came up. Let's go ahead and do this one. I have more respect for Tom just simply because he actually has something in his mind, and you either fit the bill, you can adapt to it, or you're not going to be enough to do so. And he will tell you straight up on that. Now, there are times whenever he will tell people, you're not ready now. You may be ready in a year or so, but you're not ready now. The best thing I can do for you is tell you no, because I don't want you to do something and then get let down so much that you never pick up another pencil. I have more respect for him because he does that kind of stuff. In your case, though, David, whenever we had those up there, that was amazing to see that black and white that showed up on there.
Wow.
Because there was so much detail, and my jaw was even dropped down going, I don't know who this guy is, but he's got something on here. So it was definitely one of those moments where you could almost kind of see through Tom's eyes, if that's even a thing that you could possibly do. I didn't see Godzilla and everything at the time, so it wasn't seen through his eyes. But it was just one of those things I could see where the spark was that he could actually see in there. So don't ever sell yourself short on that one, because you definitely got something that's definitely on that. And with the new style that you're working on that I keep seeing you posting day by day, don't stop doing that.
No,
that style has got my attention like you wouldn't believe, and I'm not the only one.
I appreciate that. And just to, I want to say something real quick before you go to Justin about
that. No, take your time. I gotta go. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Go ahead.
When you said about that with Tom, and I think I mentioned this before, he told me, he's like, we've known each other for at least 2.5 years. And he's like, one day you're going to work for Big Dog Inc. And I think Eve and Meredith have probably has heard this before. You're like, yeah, okay, whatever, people.
Yeah.
And they never get back hold of you. But Tom was always consistent. He was like, one of these days, he says, from what I'm seeing, that you're practicing every day. He goes, you're going to work for Big Dog Inc. one day. And then one day, it's just like, I know. And he kept saying it. And then the day he got home, I'm like, what? I'm like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, let's do this. This is what I want you to do. So, and what you said, Phil, I appreciate it, man. I much love for saying that. Thank you. I'm loving what I'm doing now. So, and it's because, like I said, of you people is why I do it. And because you guys support me and everything and all, it's like you, Phil, and get to hang out with Eve and Justin and all of them. This is why I do it. So thank you for saying those comments. I appreciate it.
His eyeballs aren't swimming anymore.
I had tea up to here.
Oh my gosh. It was just climbing right up.
Oh, she's a climber. My other dog is, where's he at? He's right there.
My other dog's she's just
Philly. Philly.
I used to have a Chihuahua.
There he is.
So.
Bad Rod Stewart.
Nice. Now, Justin, what about you? Imposter syndrome, and how did what did you do with that?
So I would say that anytime we start something new, we have imposter syndrome, right? Mm-hmm. Growing up, you go to a baseball team, you might not know some of the kids on it who already have it, so you feel it. You move to a new area, I don't fit in with these people or whatever. I went off to boot camp. I wasn't in the most affluential family, but I grew up in where I grew up in New Jersey. It was all white. I got to boot camp. It was the first time I interacted with blacks and Latinos. I was out of my element. So there's a lot of times over the course of my life, where you feel like you're an imposter. When my children were all running around, like, how am I being this dad? So, Art, David hit it. I remember my first Comic-Con was Emerald City. I applied, and they said, we don't have any rooms in Artist Alley. Would you like a main floor? And I was like, sure. So I paid for a 20 by 10 on the main floor at Emerald City Comic Con. And now I'm going to tell you a secret. So I did Emerald City Comic Con, and I, like you, David, I walked in to set up, and I only had these 2 little banners, nothing else. So I had no idea what I was doing. So I looked around and I had all this space. So the guy next to me was setting up, and I took some extra poles that he had and I duct taped them. And then I went and bought a hole punch, and I punched one of each of my prints, and then I taped them together with string, or strung them together, and hung these prints up. And it looks so archaic. But I crushed it. I sold out of every single print. And I have no idea how the hell I did it. It was really neat. And one of the secrets I had, now, the guy to my right was some guy that people very ever heard about, but his name was Neil Adams. And so I was competing against him. So I had these friends, and what they would do is they'd come over and I'd give them $50, and they would walk by my table and be like, "Oh my God, it's Justin Hunt!" And they would buy prints. And and then they would leave, and then the other guy would come back and give the prints back, and I'd give him the $50 back. And then a little bit later, when there was nobody at my table, they'd walk over and be like, "Oh my God, it's Justin Hunt!" So we wagged the dog a little bit to build up some energy, and people were fine. But I did. I felt like, who am I? And I've been working my butt off in this industry. Brian Polito, when he first saw my stuff, and he actually walked up and gave me a cease and desist. I had a Lady Death print up, and he's like, "No." And my heart sunk. But then he said, "Come back and talk to me." And I went back, and he said, "I like what you're doing. Here's what we're going to do." And I told him my history with liking it. And when he said, "I'm going to give you a shot. Here's what I need you to draw," I felt, like you said, I felt, me? Are you kidding me? And I had done some stuff, smaller pieces for other brands and stuff. So that was like my idol. And I did, and I drew something, and he's like, "That's not how this works. Do it like this." And I just kept listening. And the final piece, when it came out at Emerald City, the book sold out in less than an hour and a half. So it's really good feeling. But then now I'm with, Mike Crome, Adam Hughes, J. Scott Campbell. Like, these are names who've done stuff, you can't. Stephen Hughes obviously is one of the biggest influences in Lady Death history, but you can't. You're in this, like you said, David. I'm with these people. Like, why? Why am I with them? And then I've been trying to get a young lady to do colors for me, and I have some pieces out that they're my own characters, and Ula Moss is doing my colors. Like, when Ula Moss says, "Hey, yes, I want to do your stuff," you kind of like, okay, but why, right? And I have a couple of people who are names out there who are doing inking for me and some other progress, but there's a lot of this where you feel like, do I belong? And I think what we have to do is sit there and say, it's not do I belong, it's do I want to belong, right? And if
good point.
I want to belong, then I'm going to do it. And what am I going to do? I'm going to look at the Terry Dodsons, the Neil Adams, the Arthur Adams, the Dave Nakayamas, the Alex Rosses, whoever you find that you look up to, and you can say, what did they do right? And then when you go talk to them, and I had a conversation with Mike Mignola once, is what did you do wrong? Like, what are the things you did that I should not do? And they all share it, and they tell you, here's what I did, and here, don't ever do this, and here's what works. And when you listen to them and you take that knowledge, you're a little bit more. And what happens is, I also noticed, is when they tell you, a lot of these guys remember you, and then when they see you the next year, they're like, "Hey, I saw you did this. I'm glad you listened." And you're like, "Holy crap, like, you remembered me." And when you're listening to them and you're falling into that, it becomes more of a family, and you feel like, wait, this person's list accepting me. I've had some artwork where I've shown some of these guys whose names are out there, and they've red penned my art. And I was like, okay, I can either be like, who the hell are you to tell me, right? Or I can sit there and say, oh, you're a success and you know what the hell sells and you know what's working. So I'm going to listen to some of the stuff that you said. And this young lady right here sent me a scan, and I red penned the hell out of it. And I sent it back. I said, look, don't take this as a criticism. And I'm not the best in the world, but based on what people have told me, here's what I would project for you to kind of look at, not on this one, but the next time you do something. Look at this, look at that. And she said, thank you. She could have been like pissed off or whatever, but she said, thank you. I'm going to look at that next time. But that's all we can do. And I think, like I said, my next project that I have coming out, I'll tell you guys now, I have 2 projects that are not being told about. I'm working on a Zodiac calendar set of themes as interpreted as Zodiac constellations. And that will be a calendar set. So instead of a Julian calendar, it's going to be shifted. So you have the Capricorn month and the Aquarius month.
Nice.
So that'll be a project I'm working on, and I can't tell you who the poets and the inkers are, but wow. So that one, and I've written my own comic that I started about 14 years ago, called Motorcycle Monks, and I'll just let you guys kind of think about that one. And I'm finishing I write paragraph formats and then I'll do it, called Ninja Werewolf. So create my own characters, kind of get out there, do something that's totally different. Ninja Werewolf ties into feudal Japan as if it's set in a dystopian future. And it also has a mix of Dungeons and Dragons and steampunk. So it's but I'm doing pencils, inks. I have a certain person on colors, but I'm doing all the wording and the writing and script and everything. And it's a labor of love. I have a 3-year goal to finish it because with everything. Yeah. And I have a full-time regular job also. I work about 60 hours, 70 hours a week doing a regular job. Plus, I think I have 14 commissions and 9 covers on the books right now. So, you fit it in when you can, but also like my biggest thing of Syndrome is I announced that I've been doing artwork now for 25, 26 years. And I just now moved into my first studio. And it's kind of like, wait, I need a studio? Like, do I deserve a studio? And then it's like, I do. And instead of saying why, I'm going to say, I'm going to take this, I'm going to kick it up a notch. I'm going to take it, I'm going to work on some stuff. I'm going to, I'm going to do something different and I'm going to embrace it. So yeah, we all feel it. And there's a whole diverse talent group that's right here. And I forget which way to point, but the thread with all the comments is a whole different talent group also. And it's just really cool. And David, I'm sure you can attest to this. When you're watching and somebody said, hey, I just bought your cover, you're kind of like, my cover? Check it out.
Yeah, you just kind of like, oh, what? It kind of unnerves you. Like you shake, you're like, what?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what it just, like, I don't know what to say. Like, I'm like, thank you. And like, if I say thank you, to me in my head, it sounds sincere and stuff and all. And I'm just like, it just like, it's like a jolt. It just, you're like, wow.
Yeah. I'll tell you.
Do you ever ask why though?
Why what?
Like what? Well, I mean, when somebody buys your stuff and it just surprises you, do you ever ask, like why? Like what was it that drew you? Because maybe that's something that you can recreate.
Yeah. Some characters, some prints you look at and they'll buy one, and because a lot of times at conventions, people go for certain characters. So one person can be a Superman fan, and I don't care if you put a bag of shit with a Superman S on it, they're going to buy it. But then you have some people who are very specific, and they look for a very specific style where they don't want it to look like everybody else's. if somebody buys chibi, I don't care what it is. If it's chibi, they're buying it. So if you have a very set style, and this is what I found, you put yourself in this little niche. But if your prints have different styles and you have, thanks, Louise. If you have different stuff and you have like one that's photorealistic, like I have one of darkness that I did in pencil, and then I have one that's a painting of a character, and then I have this one here. People can walk up and pick and choose, and you kind of hit a bigger market brush. But then if one particular style is not working, you be like, and you get rid of it, and then you focus on the ones. So that's why I do it. But yeah, absolutely. And you go to a comic book shop and your cover's on the wall in a CBCS, and you just kind of smile and you just walk away. You're like, that's mine.
That is very cool. Now, Lewis saying that, I want to go ahead and just advocate real quick for Lewis, because him saying you're successful, Lewis is actually very successful in what he's doing and getting more of a foothold as we go along. And with Lily the Demoness #4 about to come out, he's about to tackle, he's going full on into the mature style on there, which is a big jump for him to go into there. He's already shown and dabbled before. Now he's going full on into it, which is a little bit different for him to get into. I think he was a little edgy about it at first, but he's had a lot of support from that. And he's going full tilt boogie into it, which is going to be great, because I've seen some of the stuff that's going to be coming out, and it is great. It is definitely worth waiting on and getting that. But I just want to go ahead and give a shout out, because it's not just us that are up here and able to talk about it. Sometimes we have people in the audience who are, feeling the same way and everything too. Lewis, you definitely, you're there. I mean, you're moving forward with your stuff.
Hey, Lewis, shameless plug. I happen to do covers if you're looking for anybody. I'm just saying.
Lewis, definitely. I know he could take you up on that at some point. He is too. Yeah, exactly. Both
I
of
don't know
them.
who you're talking about. I don't know what. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. But also Jim Noble. Now, I know Jim would ask the one question right now would be coming out of his mouth if he were actually in here and paying attention would be, how do you feel about sexy clowns?
Ooh, in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. They got those big honker.
Oh,
no.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think that's the next evolution to them is whenever you squeeze those, they honk like the nose normally would. Yeah.
I think I already had that, and he said, I have a cover like that.
Well, that was with the honkers on there, not the actual boobs doing that. So, yeah, he and I have a lot of very interesting talks. We'll put it that way.
This is the breast chat I've ever had. It's just getting a nip out of hand.
And Lewis said, haha, definitely. That's to your messages up there for both of y'all. So you definitely need to reach out to him, or he'll be reaching out to y'all. One way or another, y'all will figure something out on that. Now, I have a show that'll be starting on Thursday that I am fortunate enough I will actually be on the Comics Advocating Network. It'll be every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So if you have time to watch that live, good, great, wonderful. If you want to go watch it later on, that's even better. But I've got free reign on what I want to do. The first show that I want to do, though, I thought long and hard about it and figured out a good topic on there, and I want to go over the definition and the impact of support. I think that would be a great show to have. I've already got a couple of people who have agreed to go ahead and be on there as guest panelists. We're going to discuss over it. The reason I bring that up is because every one of y'all, whenever I discussed about the imposter syndrome and everything, it all tied into the same thing, which is the support that you get and the amount of work that you put into it. Since day one that I have started doing this, every single person that I come in contact with, and I think everyone that's here can attest to it, and everyone that's over on the side probably should be able to, as long as you put the passion in and you show that you're doing the work, I will promote and push anybody I possibly can. That is my promise. That is my goal to do for everyone else. I don't have the artistic bone in my body, so I can't do that, by going ahead and drawing a stick figure, because I don't even have a straight line that I can do that very well. But by being up here talking, getting you promoted out there, sharing as much as I can on Facebook and other avenues and platforms, whatever I can to help out with that. That right there, make sure it's the right finger whenever you do it. That right there is the most powerful thing you have in your arsenal. Anyone that's watching this right now or will be watching this later, share. You can always, always, always share.
Mm-hmm.
Now, support does not always mean financial. I'm not going to get into the whole thing right now, but support does not always mean financial. I can back a few people, and then it gets to the point where it either hurts me financially or it gets involved in some other issues. So I don't push the boundaries on that, but I will share everyone who goes ahead and will push their own work as hard as they can and put their passion into it, which is why with the indies, I can push so many people because there is so much passion that is put into the work because it's sink or swim. With the big two, they've got, high-rise, places and skyscrapers and all that have nothing but building upon building of people that are doing, the promoting and the marketing and the consulting and everything. Who does all that for you? You pretty much do it on your own, or hopefully you reach out to someone like me and you're like, hey, would you like to go ahead and give me a hand on this? And then I do that. I'm very cheap and I usually work for artwork, so I'll just let you know that ahead of time. But
yeah, you don't want my food bill.
I don't know, Meredith, you got some cool artwork. We might have to work something out over there. What you're drawing over there, we can work out something. That's worth at least 2 or 3 shares right there. And then the comic strip that she showed, that could be worth at least a week's worth of shares. That was some good comic strip going on right there.
The art that no one ever wants to commission me for.
But my point is as long like gets like, respect gets respect. I have said this on many, many, many shows. Every show that I do, I always do a closing statement. I hope that everybody is staying for those closing statements because to me, they mean something because I never script them. I never pre-write them. I never write them down as we're going along. It's just all of a sudden something comes to me. I'll throw it out there in the closing statement, and it usually works very well for what was going on with that. But
Will Russell knows what's going on. I like his comment.
What's that? Oh,
exposure bucks.
Yeah.
There
you go.
I'll tell you, but hey, Phil, with that, it's great when there's a dynamic and there's exposure.
Yes.
When you got somebody who's so I'm on a bunch of these Facebook groups, and David, you might be, and Eve and Meredith and all, and it's like comic book connection groups and professional comic artists and stuff. And somebody will come up and like, hey, I have a story. I have this. I need you to do my cover, and I'll give you exposure. And I'm like,
Wow.
I never heard of it. Like, you're asking me because I have this level, or you're asking this person because you need us to expose you. And
Right.
It doesn't always work that way. Or when you're at a show and somebody spends 45 minutes at your thing, flipping through your portfolio, and they look like, that's good art. And they walk away, it's like, yeah, that'll fill my gas tank. So, if I'm sharing David and I'm sharing Eve and Meredith's book and her stuff, and I'm sharing Phil's, and we're all sharing each other, we're all worked out together, so we're all on that same team again. Because if David's doing good, right, and then he talks to, Billy Bob's press, and he's like, you know what, this guy Justin can do this one, or I'm working on another one, and I'm like, hey, I see what you're working on. It's not my style, but check out David Fawtt. He does that style.
Exactly.
He's going to work better for you than I will, because as an artist, you can't take every damn job that comes through either, right? So working and knowing who does X, Y, Z is how you grow and take care of each other.
Yeah, I want to say something about exposure, and I'm going to keep it clean here because I think it's a really important subject. There are a lot of people who, especially creators, who don't know shit about marketing, and they don't have
thank you
the oomph they don't know where to start. And then again, it goes to the imposter syndrome. It's like, well, if I promote myself, then people are going to get the wrong impression of me and stuff like that. No, you have to put the word out there and say, this is my stuff, take it or leave it. And here's the other thing. If you've got somebody like Demon Phil, myself with Geek Insider, you have Brian K. Morris who does his shows, and we've got people who are promoting Comic Book Advocating Network, and they say, you know what, you've got some stuff that is worthy of talking about. The least you could do as the artist who's being promoted is hit the share button. It's not that hard. Some people, I mean, I have, when we did Geek Out Virtual Con, I went out of my way to make profile pages for so many people. There's only a fraction of them who actually went to the page, forwarded it, linked back to it, talked about it. And it's like, wait a minute, I'm literally putting all of your links on the site, on a permanent site that's going to be there, that has traffic. And that went out to our entire network. And the least you could have done was hit the share button. And you couldn't do it. You know, I mean, so some people just don't want to help themselves. They just want to, but they want to take from your effort and your effort and your effort. But they don't want to do the work themselves. And just that finger to hit the share button, hit the like, leave a comment. I mean, even right now in YouTube for Phil's show, anybody who's in there should be hitting the like button, hit the share button, leave a friggin' comment, because what it does is it increases his views, and it increases the algorithms so that people will find him more. And it'll be the Google search engines. I did an experiment with this with a friend of mine who had I think his show was on like page 10 of Google. We found it. All right. One comment and one share actually brought him up to like page 5.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
So it means everything as far as exposure, and it's not that hard, and I can't even say that people are lazy. I think they're just being freaking rude, and I'm just sorry, not so positive, but you know, it's not that hard, guys.
Some people don't even know how that works either, Meredith. Some people think I'm just here to observe it. You know, I don't. You know, search engine optimization is not something that the average comic book artist looks at and says, "Oh, I'm going to be an SEO expert."
Right. And then there's another side to it. All those people that will add you on Facebook, and the first thing that they do before even saying or bothering to say hello is they invite you to a page. I'm like, dude, you could have just said hello. You could have found out what I do. You could have looked at my work. You could have said something about it. Why even go through the whole friend request just for me to follow a page? And I've done this so many times it became a pet peeve. I would follow a page and then not hear a single thing from said person that friended me. So it's like, I have a potential lurker on my profile.
Ew.
Gross.
Now,
I hate that.
I don't talk about myself very much, but I'm going to go ahead and clear the air about something, because as far as the marketing and everything that I do, I don't have training experience. I don't have schooling, anything like that. What you see is what you get. Now, what that means, though, I have backed a lot. I am what is called a super backer, for whatever reason that is on there and everything. That may mean nothing except for the fact that I am very observant in what goes on with it. And I have this, it's like a double-edged sword, but at any given time, I have 5 chess moves going on in my head. So for every 5 moves that could go bad, I have 5 separate moves that can go ahead and fix each of those 5 moves, and so on and so forth. So whenever I'm looking at other projects that are going on, I'm looking at it going, if this doesn't happen in the next, day, then I can see where this is going to start sliding off. And sure enough, it does. If this doesn't happen on this and they don't increase the algorithm on this, it's not going to move. And it doesn't. I've gotten very good at doing that. So therefore, I am presenting myself as giving my business out there to do that. So the reason I said I will work for art is saying that I will work for art. I am never going to go to anybody. I've never come to anybody saying, give me something free. Whenever I don't think I've gone to any of y'all asking for anything free. Y'all came to me about the 1,000 followers deal and offered things, which was very amazing on that. But the whole point is, and this is not imposter syndrome. This is me getting out there and getting my name out there. So in order to do so, if I go out there and I say I'm going to get the standard 15, 20%, whatever commission for doing marketing, then I damn sure better go ahead and get you to that $10,000 to $15,000 mark on every crowdfunding you do, or else I'm not doing it. So what I'm doing is I'm saying, you know what? If we can go ahead and trade some art on this, if we can trade, help me out with my exposure, or help you out with your project thing over here, or whatever. It's a networking project that works on there, and I will help you out with your project. That's what I'm working on in other projects that I'm doing. So I just want to go ahead and clear the air in saying that I don't want to say that I don't know what I'm doing, but I don't have the experience and all of that that's going along with me. So I'm taking it at a different level. So I'm not just going out there saying I want free stuff. There is no free to me. I work for everything.
Well, Phil, that's, David offered and I offered, and, we did it because we don't do stuff for free either, right? We recognize that you're in a growth potential exponentially at this point. People are paying attention to you. So you're having me on and chatting and everything is great because it's exposure for me. It gets me in front of your audience. People can go back and watch this later. A part of that program. So it helps me also, so that when you're only talking to J. Scott Campbell and all that other ones, and David and I and Eve and Meredith can be the way back whens, but we're all we're helping each other at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, y'all are never going to be way back wins. Trust me. I don't play that game. Hence why my commemorative show and everything, like I said, is not me. I'm actually going to have other people that are on there that I actually want to get them some time out there. Now, let me go to the comments real quick because we've had a lot of things over here. Russell's been putting a lot of stuff, but I think he's actually behaving. That's kind of scary. Sharing people's work you believe in helps. I'm more likely to check out a new person, new to me work that a friend shares than if the author or artist shares it themselves. Absolutely.
Yep, agreed. And thank you for that, Russell.
Not saying people shouldn't promote their own work, but the 5 seconds it takes to share goes much further. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Russell's on a roll here. I've shared everyone's work so much lately that I've had to cut back for a bit. I got a warning. I'm sharing Facebook. If I go dark next week, you'll know why. I'm trying to stay positive in this show, so I'm not going to get on the Facebook thing right now.
What's that?
Yeah,
Don't get
exactly.
me started on the Facebook thing. Don't get me started.
And William Russell said, amazing how people get pissed when I say no thank you to doing free art or a cover job. Really? They ask you for free? Wow.
A free cover job?
I already give an insane discount to Kickstarter people like many artists do and then get called what?
Oh, so yeah.
I want to know who those people are, actually.
Oh, don't worry. When they reach out and tell you that they're not going to pay you, you'll know.
Yep.
So I actually had a project. The guy sent me a summary and wanted me to do five issues, 22 pages each, all the sequentials and covers, and pay me on the backside on a percentage of what sells. And no, I'm good. Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually ran into that problem. And I'm going to be honest. I'll just go ahead and say, not being negative. I swear I'm not bringing negativity to this. It bit me in the ass. That's all I'm going to say. And that's why I kind of just I decided to go ahead and do covers because I love doing covers. And they're fun. But yeah, and something else I like to say real quick too. I get a lot of, again, not being negativity, just saying this. I get a lot of flack because Phil was talking about the stuff I put on Facebook. Just a little literally 30-minute sketches of me doing stuff, and people share those, and it's amazing. And I get a lot of the stuff of like when I do that, or like people says, "Oh man, I'd love to to buy your artwork, but I can't afford it." And I'm like, don't worry about it, and then they'll share that of what I've done. But I've even got to the point on some people, they're like, I would love to come and see you at an appearance, but I can't buy anything. I think Justin, even all of us, and even Phil, even saying Meredith, you do not have to come to a con and buy something from me. Just come and hang out for a little bit.
Right.
Just come and
Yes,
let's have fun.
Jesus.
You don't have to buy anything from me. I've met some of the coolest people that it's just they've never bought anything from me, but we had the best time at a Comic-Con.
Well, that's the thing about a Comic-Con is like anybody who's gone to one knows that everybody's got some kind of a budget, and maybe they're going there to see some person or buy the book or buy a signature, whatever the case might be. So, I mean, if money was no object, I would go to every table and buy something, but I can't, so the least I could do is spend time and make friends or, meet up with people. And yeah, that's everything.
Yeah. And like if they come up and like if they got a little kid or something, and the little kid have a sketchbook, I will like do a quick free sketch for him or something. I love doing stuff like that. And that's always the point I wanted to get across. You don't have to visit me or talk to me to buy something. Like it's nice, and all, but it's not a requirement. And people, I get that all the time, like that I have to come to your site, or if I feel bad if I come to your site and don't buy anything. Don't ever feel bad like that. I don't know.
But that's where the sharing comes in, because if you don't have the money to financially support, at least share it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I will say this right now, and I'm going to give the shout out to Angry Artist right now. I wish we had, because we've been on here for almost 2 hours, so I would pull them on, but we're getting to that closing point here very shortly. Yeah, William, I need to get you on here at some point, to be honest, and then you can go ahead and discuss this more. But the fact that now I know why you're called the Angry Artist. I've always kind of wondered, but if that's the case and that's what's happening to you and all, that explains a lot with that. And I apologize, because I've never done that to you. That's for damn sure. But I know that he works his ass off over there. He's constantly working. He's constantly drawing. He's constantly doing live stream shows, talking about going to different cons, talking about putting things together. He's put together an amazing art book, which he has sold out, I believe, twice, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
So he keeps getting that back in to, sell some more. And David, you would love it because it's a lot of horror stuff that's in there. It is amazing.
Oh, I got to look at it. Yeah. Angry Artist, hit me up if you don't care.
Yes, you definitely need to get together on that. But he works his ass off on that, and to be treated like that, that's not cool. And for any of y'all to work like that and be treated like that, see, this is me looking behind the curtain, because since I'm not in your shoes and do what you do, I don't see from that end. I only see on my end. I've told some people no on some interviews, but it's been for other reasons, because I research anybody and everybody that ever gets up here with me, because I cannot and will not be affiliated with somebody that has nothing but negativity going on with them. And I'll just kind of leave it at
that. Hey, David, you mentioned people coming and not necessarily buying at the show or whatever. I have a gentleman who's probably came to 5 or 6 shows I was at. Then I did he never bought anything, just perused and looked and chatted and whatever. And it got to a point where I'd see him and I'd wave and be like, "Hey, Pat," and he would just kind of look and he would tell me about what he's got going on. And then I did a signing at a comic book store, and he came by and he was going through my books. And from that day to now, which has been just under a year, about $8,000 worth of my art he's bought.
Yes, that's like kind of happened to me before. Like,
because I built a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, like, he was probably like 3 or 4 cons, like he came to where I was at. And then like I went to this one con, and it was one of those deals like where they let them in early.
Mm-hmm.
And the 5th con, he came in, he goes, "Have you got your art book with you?" And it was my portfolio of my original art. And he's like, he just looked at it, he goes, "Okay, I need to see it for a second." He goes, "Okay, I want that, 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 and that." And same thing, ended up spending like probably $3,000. And I'm like, dude, are you serious?
Yeah, because they're investing in you, and they want to see that you're working on stuff. And they, some people, none of us here are J. Scott Campbell, right?
No.
So we're
At
all
least I don't
still
think so.
developing. We're all still growing. We're all still, but these people, without the fans, and Phil, I think we've talked about this in the past, without the fans buying your stuff, whether it's an original piece or they're supporting Tom Hutchison and his Kickstarters, or Coffin Comics, or Ron Zabala and Patriotica, or a Marvel card that you work on. I think Will Russell does a lot of the stuff. All that stuff adds up. And if we have no fans out there, none of us are doing something we like and making money on it. Right.
Yeah.
So that's an invested time. So I just wanted to, if there's any artists out there who are watching and like, this is bullshit, I'm at this thing, the guy keeps talking to me and never buys anything. He will.
Oh yeah.
They will. They're looking for that right piece, and listen to him. If the same guy comes up every time and is like, do you have any Thor? No. Thor? No. Thor? No. Then you flip through and you're like, I just worked on this Thor. I'll buy it. Boom.
I'll buy it.
Just listen. People will tell you what they like. Watch what they're buying. Watch what's in their bags already and stuff. Just build a relationship.
Yeah.
They'll come around.
Oh yeah.
And Angry Artist said, yep, if someone is assuming something about me because I'm called the Angry Artist should dig deeper. My name comes from being angry and hungry for the passion of art.
Shameless plug for him.
Yep.
His morning lives are they're a great companion for coffee. I love. They're a good replacement for metal music. You don't have to wake anybody up, but yet you're equally as energized. I sit with my coffee. I'm like, oh, he's going live. He's in his car. What's he gonna say? What's he gonna do?
Now I will
just
say
drink
this.
in peace.
Angry Artists, definitely shoot me a message whenever we're done with this, and I'll try to lock you in a seat on one of these weekends, because I have this every single Saturday, 11 p.m. Eastern. So we have some fun with this, and we get up here and try to get some information out there as well and have some fun. So we'd love to have you come up on here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's to see some of the disrespect that happens in there is one thing, but we have the ability to go ahead and change it and get the information out there to try to create some positive energy off of this. I'm always the one that tries to look at the glass as, half full instead of half empty. There are a lot of things, everybody goes through a lot of things and they don't talk about it. There are so many things that I am going through that I have not talked about, that there are things that I'm trying to push through and trying to, if you only knew, you would kind of be wondering why I'm even still doing this. That being aside, that's because I'm trying to go into the positive mode of things. So if we can actually help educate other people and say, this is how a lot of people perceive what's going on with this. Perception is something that changes everybody's look on things. That is the greatest quote that I've ever heard. Perception is the way that everybody looks at things differently. It's amazing whenever you start thinking about it, because it's a play on words, yes, but it is very true. So in this industry, I can see where that can definitely be an issue with that, because I had no idea until tonight that all of y'all are getting problems with that so much that it's like, give me free art, give me free this, give me free that. To me, that just doesn't compute. That makes no sense to me, just because I guess I'm old school and I feel like, you get paid for what you do. It's just a funny little thing that I guess I was brought up on that way.
Well, they will also come up to you, Phil, and they'll be like, sketch something. You sketch it, and they're like, well, why did that cost X amount of money? You only did it in 20 minutes. No, it took me 20 years to learn how to draw it in 20 minutes. Let's be real,
exactly.
Right?
And the other part is, as artists and creators. So Meredith, I don't want to discredit you as not an artist. You draw wonderful breasts.
What? Thank you. Thank you.
We can't belittle each other. And there's a lot of artists out there who see somebody else and are like, you haven't done this, so I'm going to belittle you because I've done this. And that's just bullshit. Every artist now, David, I'm just going to use it. You're on the panel here. If I look at one of your pieces and I'm like, something's not working here, or it looks like it's a direct copy of somebody, I'm not going to blast you in social media so everybody can see it. I'm going to shoot you something like, hey, David, I checked this out. Don't take it the wrong way, but what about XYZ? And you as an artist should be like, but there's a lot of them out there who they think they have to call everybody out on public, and that's not how you do it. That's how you piss people off, because you might be saying it to this one person. But there's industry people who are reading that thread who don't say anything and like, oh, if this guy can't get along, I'm not putting him on my label. And I guarantee there's some people out there who have great talent and you don't see them being published. Why? Because they're pricks. I mean,
you nailed it, dude. You nailed it 100%. You nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
I completely agree on that. But maybe it's something we can with Unscripted, we have nothing that we go into here with, but maybe we can kind of do a 1 point each week that we can kind of bring up in the artist and in the creative industry and just kind of have like one educative, question that we go ahead and go around with the panel. I think I can come up with something like that. In the meantime, while you're out there, shoot me messages. Let me know, some ideas that you might have. And anyone can do that. So anyone that's here right now on the panel, anyone that's in the audience, anyone that's going to be watching this later on, shoot me messages. Let me know some of the ideas you might have for some of the panels, for the questions like that, and I'll definitely work through it. I have no problem with that. But
Nice.
we've pushed over the 2-hour mark, so I'm going to go ahead. We're going to start getting into the closing part of this. So what I'm going to do is we're going to start off with Eve. If you will go ahead and tell us where we can find you and what you are currently working on and all that fun stuff.
Okay. Well, if you look up the very unique name right there, you can find me on Instagram. It's Ivannette Rivas Illustrations. Please don't pick my personal Instagram. I don't think I'll follow you back. You can also find me on Facebook. And as of right now, what I've been working on throughout this whole time, I don't think you'll be able to see it. I decided I would participate in the Sailor Moon redraw.
Oh.
And I love Rockin' Jellybean's art so much. I love his kind of pixelated or I don't even know what it's called. But yeah, I kind of like that sort of art style. Let's see if I can focus it a little bit.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Very nice.
I'm working hard on it, and it's going to be like a cool poster. It's going to have all of the different characters from Sailor Moon. So we'll see how it turns out.
Cool.
Look at
All
you.
right.
What a stud.
Meredith, you're up.
Hey guys, all right. So I'm Meredith Loughran, and you can find me at meredithloughran.com. And that has all the links to my social media, hopefully some of the events that I'm going to be attending for Geek Insider. And speaking of Geek Insider, I was very sincere in my message here. Anybody who is on the panel and who is listening, if you've got artwork, if you've got comic books, if you've got regular books, we feature you guys on Geek Insider. It's not just tech stuff. We do that. We do cosplayers. We do all kinds. It's basically, if you can geek out about something, we try and get inside the geek, and that's through interviews and things like that. But we do the profile pages, and they stay there, and we send it out to the newsletter and stuff. So follow me on my social media, reach out to me, let me know if you're interested, and it doesn't cost a thing. It's a little bit of time. Help yourself, help me, help you, as some would say. And, the one piece of advice I would say is please, 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 if you bother to show up anywhere on the social media, hit the like button, hit the share button, leave a comment. It really helps out the person that you're following. And so geekinsider.com, meredithloughran.com, follow me on social media, reach out to me, let me know if you want a profile page. I can't promise that it would be up tomorrow, because we do have a publishing schedule, but I will get you up there and we will promote you through our social channels, all of them. So
cool.
That's it for me. Yeah.
All right.
Please
Here's
do. It's a sincere offer.
David.
Yeah, I'm just on the main social networks. Facebook, just look up David Fott. Facebook, Instagram. Sundays, I'm on the ASSN for 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time. Just kind of like talking and selling wares and stuff and all. But yeah, just go on there, follow me. If you guys have any questions, hit me up. Yeah, just look up either David Fott or Sketch Artist 76 and you'll find me on the internet. So that's it.
Cool. And here is Justin.
Hey guys, Justin Hunt. I am on Instagram, Art of Justin Hunt. It's all one word. I try to be super creative with that. I'm also on Facebook. It's just Justin Hunt. Welcome to friend me there. If you're going to friend me, wait a week before you tell me about your site. But you can find me on there. I have, if you go to Big Dog Inc., I have some covers over there. I have some new stuff coming out June for Big Dog and some stuff coming out later in the year. Have some very unique horror covers right now on a Kickstarter for Mountaineers West called Couch Surfing. It's demonic possession and stuff up in Seattle. So I did the covers for number 1. I did 2 variant covers for number 2, and there's some free stuff going in there too, some actual artwork going into for one of the tiers. But there's a lot more coming on. I have some stuff with Mad Cave Studios coming out this year. I'll be circling back around and hitting Mr. Polito up for some stuff. But a lot of new things. You'll see me out and about. Say hi. The rest of the panelists, David's got a great piece over at Big Dog Inc., so keep an eye on him. Eve has a satanic, what is it called, Eve? Satanic lady, big breast with fire.
Lily the Demoness. Right.
Check out. Go check out Geek Insider. We all take care of each other. Phil, thanks for having us on. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be part of this team and part of this family here. I will. I'll shoot you a message about Saturday, and then I will definitely have that cover offer available for your winner. So anyway, that's pretty much it. But really, guys, just what Meredith and everybody said, share. And if I can just tell you guys 4 words, don't be a dick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, I'm going to put y'all backstage while I go ahead and do my closing real quick. If you want to hold out back there, we can talk afterwards. Give me just a couple minutes here. All right, so we had a great show with this. Thank you is not a good enough expression that I can come up with on all this. 1,000 followers is one thing. Just the fact that how much I am being accepted into the industry and the family with all of this. I use the words humbling. I use, things like that. And I'm trying not to be repetitive with it, but I mean, it's just something that I feel with that. I'm just being genuine. I always have a closing statement. Tonight's not any different than that. I haven't scripted anything. I haven't written anything down. And tonight, I think it's just got to go around, unity. We're going to go ahead and go with that. I've discussed, we kind of danced around a little bit with the indie universe that's out there and everything, and the unity that needs to be happening. So what's wrong with starting with unity with just a small group? What's wrong with going ahead and starting with just a few people? Sometimes if you go ahead and throw one pebble into a lake and you get a little bit of a ripple off there, it'll hit the bank eventually. If you go ahead and get a few people together and you throw a few pebbles out there, well, it's going to hit the bank a lot faster and a lot harder. So maybe unity is what we need within this industry, and go ahead and start creating some people that actually want to go ahead and work together and make a difference out there in a positive way. So until next time, stay positive, stay safe, wash your damn hands, keep it indie, y'all.